So, as my philosophy states in its mandate, is that within the 360-degree circumference around the circle are declared as those within the circle in itself. Within this 360-degree circumference of a circle are within it are declared as those who are, as I declare or find deserving or necessary, as being considered as those who I share admiration for, to those who I respect and adore, as I have a passion for those who I have a numerous amount of tremendous amount of respect for. And as obvious, in today's culture of our technological modern day 21st century in our society, we have a tendency to focus ourselves inwards in our self-afflictions of our indulgence, as we remain apathetic towards other human beings, or at least towards others in the world. We have a sense of apathy that exists within our modern day structure of our society, to where we have a feeling of apathy towards one another as a collective within the consciousness of our society, of our technological modern 21st century, of our humanity in our modern age. We have a sense of apathy, and as well as a lack of motivation, or a sense of inspiration to wanting to establish friendships with one another, or even to develop a relationship with one another. And it appears to me, in my honest to God perspective, throughout my entire existence, since the day I was born up until in my existence now, being as myself someone who is 25 years of age, it's inevitable. I cannot help but to notice the vast oceans of the amount of people, of human beings, who tends to focus more inwards upon their family structures and relations, or those of whom are close to one another. And there seems to not be as much of those who have a sense of an empathy, or sense of sympathy, a care of others around the world, or of other human beings within the world, as you might like to believe, as much as you would like to hope for. So when I say that family is not as important as it should, your priorities in itself should be placed upon other human beings of the world. And to place others before yourselves is an act of selflessness. So basically, focusing the majority, or at least all of your time, upon the inwards afflictions of the concentration upon your family, and that's not how existence, or how should we survive to coexist within one another as human beings and among different cultures. That is not necessarily of how we should coincide and coexist peacefully among one another as human beings. And while, of course, obviously, family is vital, it is important, however, it's not the entire world. And there's so much more to life than, as opposed to just this inner circle of this 360-degree circle of family. There's so much more to life than just that. We as a collective within human beings, within society, we tend to focus all of our attention, if not the majority of our attention and our time and energy, that revolves around strictly just family. We act as if we have no concept of understanding, a tolerance, or practice on a regular basis in our everyday lives and our existence for the teachings of diversity and tolerance and acceptance among one another. And rather, instead of us focusing so much of our time upon our own family structure, as much as I hate to say it, in the United States we do not have a sense of structure of families anymore that exists. The principles of the old-fashioned traditional has escaped us. It has somehow become diminutive, and as it withers within the sands of time, within each day that ultimately passes through. So what I'm saying is that there's so much more to life, it's like my entire existence, I've been conflicting myself against what I used to refer to as being friendships, which I no longer believe in a concept of friendships. And if you should decide to watch this video that I personally, myself, I had done, which can be found right here. If you would click this little box, it will automatically take you to and direct you to my previous video in which I had explained that I no longer believed in a concept of friendship, considering I've had this in-depth, deeper perspective and this revelation in my consciousness of my thoughts. I had opened a portal of the gateway within the archives of my mind, and had I realized this much sooner, I wish I would have, and to have desired to accumulate this knowledge much sooner, I could honest to God say how much I regret it. Looking back at it now, and how I regret that I should have realized this much sooner is basically what I'm saying, in simpler context of English and its terms. So, family in itself is important, of course. What I was basically saying about friendships was of how it is, to me, obsolete any longer, considering of how much disappointments that there virtually exists within the concept of friendship. And it appears that as if anyone could consider one another as friendships. And it's something that's so simple as a label. So I myself, I personally do not believe in labels particularly. So with that being said, I desire to focus my energy, my time, and my efforts to dedicate myself to the cause of humanity, to the cause of my principles of being virtuous, of upholding the roots of what I am, or of who I am as an individual, as a human being. And that's what ultimately you need to conserve yourselves in the consciousness of your own minds, of your own spiritual awakening, or a sense of awakening in your consciousness. May it be spiritual, or emotionally, or mentally, either of those three, and perhaps maybe if not more. And for that, I wish you the greatest of luck. and best of well wishes in your journey to acquire a deeper sense of knowledge, a greater tranquility of peace, that a harmonizing in which you could, discover within yourselves. So we live inside of this culture in today's world where we have this terminology. I'm just throwing this basically out. There is like me familia. Alright. That truly, the concept of self-guiding yourself into the concept of focusing all of your, or at least the majority of your attention upon your family. I truly apologize. This does not intend to offend anyone, and forgive me if it does. However, I sincerely am proud to have said this, but that truly offends me as a human being, as a living, breathing human being, considering that, I'm looking at this through the perspective of our divine creator, that ultimately we as a civilization, as human beings, as mankind, we are all meant to share a connectedness, a relationship that could be found within one another as a conscious collective of human beings, of people, as a society, as a common grounds of our principles and virtues, of morals, our system of virtues, our system of guidance that guides and shapes who we are into the deeper spectrum of thoughts, of our lifestyle, our existence, and how we develop and grow and self-manifest ourselves within the light and the positive that could be found in the world as a conscious, clear collective together, as a unity, as a one box, as what we are, as who we are. And this ball that you hold in your hands is a spiritual aura. It's a conscious collective of energy of the entire world that, even in its unknown, unexplained mysteries of the universe, that we still have to unlock. And this is the journey of life, and this is my obligation as a human being. This is my pursuit of our aspirations. And me personally, every single day of your lives, I am constantly in the progress and the process of, inside this journey of, as I attempt to unveil the secrets of the universe, while in the process in this journey of myself becoming a greater individual, a greater human being every day of my life. And it's not justified or fair for those of us who, for an example, for those of us who do not have families. So as a result, therefore, they have no concept of understanding of what it feels emotionally and physically and mentally of having a family, of what it feels like. And it's not fair for those of us to push our family values of our mi familia upon one another as human beings. And for those who do not have families or grown up in foster care orphanages, they have no understanding of what the concept of friendship, for one, and the concept of family, of what it feels like. They might have certain handful of a how should I say, a rather very good dear friend to me, who is inside within the circle in which I had crafted together. Although he has a family, despite that he has a family, he has little to no friendships. And to him, I am considered as one of the greatest of friendship to him, so much to the point to myself being considered as a brother to one another, as to him and to myself, to both of us, we are considered brothers to one another. The concept of family is one in which that is very much unique. As obviously family as a unit, as a family structure, we should be supportive of one another. We should have a passion to adore one another and to be who you are, while maintaining the positives of your state of mind and your consciousness is one of the absolute greatest, most important. Family, I thought to myself, was only obsolete in regards to sinking our minds in the self-indulgence of focusing only upon our families, not of outwards of the world, or projecting our positive influence to teaching others of how to embrace different cultures, to how to embrace yourself, to accepting yourselves as well as accepting others for ultimately of who they are. And family is important. Then again, it's not everything. And that's the point I'm trying to get across. Because there is a vast ocean of a variety of versatile cultures. And who are we as human beings if we cannot share or cultivate our knowledge, our principles, and to share a relationship within one another as human beings, within a society? So, family is dear to us, as it should be. Family is very vital. Family is one of the most vital to us as for who we are, as they are supportive, loyal, loving, and caring, and sympathetic and supportive, as I myself or anyone else would obviously expect family to be, to accept you for who you are and to nourish you and to carry on, to helping you to develop, to carry on the legacy of your existences throughout the decades of time and the sands of time. However, I cannot say that for those who do not have families or a circle of friendships, unfortunately, families do not apply to them. However, the purpose of how we should be as human beings is for us to ultimately develop a relationship with everyone equally, through acceptance, through diversity, through tolerance, through open-mindedness, and a system of morality and virtues, so that we may adopt them into our existence as being friends, as being of them being friendships, turning that relationship into our lives the adoption of them becoming family to us, if that makes any sense. And if you truly do not understand that, then you truly are lost and misguided as a human being. And I pray for your spirit, honest to God. And this is such a simple, more or less a simple yet complicated concept. It's complicated to those who does not understand the difference. And ultimately, through the eyes of our divine creator, we are all but one and the same. We are truly equals as we harvest and manifest that relationship within one another. We are brothers and sisters inside the circle of life. And one of the greatest things is to never be self-absorbed or indulgent, inwards focus upon your family structure. Rather, instead, you should become more open-minded and diversified and universal and tolerant of others, regardless of our differences, regardless of our imperfections. And we should receive into our lungs, into our bodies, into our spiritual bodies, and of our conscience, of our minds, of what we are, to treating everyone as if they were family to you. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Ultimately, everyone is like family to us, to you and I, to those of you watching this video, and including myself. We have to place others before ourselves, whether if we should decide to accept that philosophy or not. And it's not so much of a philosophy as much as it is an appropriate or necessary, way to live in life. It's how we should coexist in our lives and how we should live according to our existence and our right perspective. And we should dedicate ourselves more to the cause of humanity. So, with this being said, thank you so much for taking this opportunity to watching this video. If you would be so kind to please share this video with others, and please subscribe to this inspiration project if you would be so kind. We truly would be grateful. Appreciate all the support, as well as, you know, I've explained this time and time before again, that ultimately this is not just an ordinary channel. This is more of a channel, an inspiration project dedicated to helping to inspire others for the positive. That may the light of Providence help to influence us through influencing the world through the positive. And ultimately, one day, I envision to change the world for the positive, if possible. There's so much light in the world, there's so much good in the world that exists. And whether if people realize this or not, as little as they might or might not, there's still so much good in the world. There's so much light and positive influences that still exists today in today's society. And this project is dedicated to the promotion and advocacy and promotion of sharing the light with the world, sharing a positive influence, as well as, of course, helping to cultivate different cultures of sharing a knowledge of the world, the entire universe as a collective, as one embraced collective, that there's no separation that exists. There's no separation that exists. There is no concept of indifferences. Everything is all the same and similar as it is equal. So that's what this inspiration project is dedicated to, helping to share a knowledge of different cultures and a new perspective of how we should live and coexist as human beings. And for the greater good, thank you.